Hi, I'm Adam Meyer of Mill City Lutherie in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And in this video, I'm going to show a somewhat common problem that people have with their tremolo style guitars is that when the posts break loose in the body, things to look for, how this particular one, I'm going to go about repairing it, and other things that you may want to look for. So if you have a guitar that has tremolo problems and you think that the post may be loose or things just aren't staying in tune, I'll go over those things. This one is pretty elaborate, but I'll mention some things that you can look for on yours, symptoms, things to look for, and repairs that may be needed. So here we go. Okay, we're up real close to the guitar right now, and you've got this right along the surface of the guitar, and if you notice, the bridge post here is leaning forward. Should always be perpendicular with the surface of the guitar. So something has let loose inside of the guitar. We're going to have to take the bridge out and find out what's going on in there. Now if I come up to this other side here, when the customer brought it in, the first thing I noticed was that the bridge, get this to refocus, was rubbing in the tremolo route. Now this is an Ibanez guitar. Originally it would have had an Ibanez licensed Floyd Rose tremolo in it, but this Floyd Rose Pro often will replace an Ibanez tremolo, but it should not be rubbing there. You can see there's a little bit of chipping in the finish there. Well, cracks, not chips. So let's get this apart and find out what's going on inside. Alright, got the bridge out of here. And I'm trying to make sure this is visible on the phone or the camera in my phone. The cracks just don't show up. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to use a flashlight. You see my feeler gauge, what shape it is. There is a crack right there. Get this to go in. There. Right there. Right behind the pivot post, kind of towards its bottom. And let's see. Pull it out, stick it back in. There you can see it. Wouldn't be able to see it if I wasn't using the feeler gauge and pulling it in and out. But that's where it is. There's another one on the base side as well. So let me pull these screws out and show you what the inserts are like. Alright, took these two anchor screws out. This is an Ibanez part. They screw this down, have the bushings that are part of this strip here. You should not be able to do this, whether they're together on a strip or just in the body on their own. They should not, watch this. I'm able to wiggle the whole thing. It means they're loose, and you absolutely should not be able to just pull it out by hand. That is got damage down inside that guitar. So, I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, here. This is an Ibanez part. These are Floyd Rose posts. But the issue is these bushings here. These, to me, they don't look like what come with the Floyd Rose kit. It's usually something that's a little bit bigger diameter, which will give a little more of a secure anchoring in the body. But the issue is, the way Ibanez designed their guitar, I don't really have the room here to expand this pickup or this tremolo route to dowel the wood and re-drill and then use this component again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some cyanoacrylate. Basically it's super glue. Well, it is super glue. It's just what comes for woodworking. And through these cracks in the back where I showed you, I'm going to soak glue in through there. That will help bond everything together. And then all around the post holes, I'm going to soak in some real thin super glue again. That will help harden this up. Then I'm going to take some of the medium thickness, and since these were pushing this way, I'm going to try and build up some of the glue down on that area and the top area on the front to kind of make it so that these have to press in really hard and they have a little extra substance there to help reinforce and keep these anchored really well so that, you know, it's not this kind of thing. You have to actually really use a lot of force to get these to be put in, and it takes force to come out. This is just way too loose. This is not going to work. Okay, so I put taped on a piece of scrap leather here. Not sure if I can catch it in the light here. Right there, there's a crack on the treble side. And trying to get the light. I don't think I'll be able to show it with the feeler gauge, but right there is the one on the base side. So I'm going to take thin super glue. Just going to let it wick its way down into that crack. And I just keep doing that till it's filled up, and then I'll go around to the front edge. All right, progress stop here. It's going to show I've been bled the glue in through this side until I could see that this side, the inside of the hole for the bushing, the glue had soaked through. Kept doing it till it seemed like it was filled up. Then I came to the inside and I started doing the same thing, bleeding glue all around. And the idea is you want to get this so that these are snug going in, and almost there. This side needs a little bit more. The base side, yeah, it's now where I'll have to actually pound that in. You don't want it to be where it's a struggle to pound it in, but you know, this one, I don't think I can put it at an angle. Yeah, see, I can push it in and pull it out by hand still. So that needs just a little bit more glue going around the side. So here's the next stage in this. Now I went ahead and did a preliminary setup on the guitar. I had the bridge mounted, strung it up, strings and everything. This is approximately where the bridge will be in the end. This is the height of it within the body relative to the neck to get correct string height. Now, one thing that's concerning with the repairs that I've done, you can see just how far out these posts are from the base here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back out, and I'm going to make a wood shim or block along here for the whole thing, this whole base to come up out of the body so that these posts are down deeper into wood, because there's just too much pressure going that way. I estimate that if I, probably like almost 1/4 of an inch, put a block in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find a piece of maple, and I'm going to drill to fit this into that piece of maple. I'm going to do that first before gluing it into here, because the holes in the body line up really well with the neck. If I glue it, cover it up with a strip across, trying to get that matched up is going to be really difficult. So I'm going to drill into a block first, make sure that it fits, and then I'm going to cut it down to size to fit into the body. So that is the next step. All right, got the shim made. It's going to fit in. Actually, it goes this way. Fit in all nice. And so this is the idea. It will, of course, it'll fit underneath, but just to kind of give you an idea, this is how much the post stuck out in order to set the guitar up to get the action correct. Now that's a lot of pressure with the posts way out. I'm eliminating that much. That'll be kind of what it looks like when everything's installed. That's a big difference there. You know, it'll fit like this underneath. These posts will come down, but that is just way too much. That's too much flex there. So what I'm going to do, I filled the 2 screw holes here. I'll be re-drilling with longer screws. I'll go in like that. I'll put a little wood glue through the middle here. I'm going to use some drill bits as a kind of a quick and dirty way to use as locating pins to clamp it. It'll get clamped overnight. And then once in the morning, get these out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some thin super glue and along the edges, wherever I can, around the front, I'm going to let some glue soak down in there and fill in any little gaps and whatever, make this as rigid as possible. Now, here's a little detail that is often overlooked. There's a lot of people that have problems with their tremolos, and it's because the posts or the bushings have come loose. It isn't just simply the body cracking, guitar getting dropped, the bridge hit. Another factor that a lot of people don't always notice when mass-produced guitars, I'm going to take my calipers as a depth gauge here, go all the way to the bottom. I'm going to show you. There is that much gap underneath the bushing. These holes were never drilled precisely, and the idea is you want this to sit flush at the bottom of the hole, because you know that doesn't want to tip forward or anything. It helps keep things stable. If you have room under there, then it's going to flop around. So once I get this glued into place, I'm going to remeasure, and I'm going to take some dowel, and I'm going to precisely cut off 2 biscuits here. I'm going to get them to the correct thickness. They will get pushed all the way down to the bottom and glued into place before the bridge posts are put in. That is a key factor in this. If you have a guitar with these type of issues, the bushings are loose or whatever, it could also be that the holes in the body are just too deep. That is another thing to look for if you come across my video and you have problems like this, is to check the depth of these holes. So I'm going to get started here. I'm going to get this dyed black before I put it in and get it clamped overnight, and we'll move on to the next step. Got the shim glued in now. So the next thing to do is I want to start to fill up the bottom of the post hole. So I take my depth gauge again. I showed you before, but now we're getting the actual measurement that we need. I'm going to take that measurement, which is 1.090. What I do is I subtract this number from that, and I'll end up with that as my final result. So I'm going to push these, put a little glue at the bottom, push them down in until they hit the bottom, and then I'll double check the measurement, and that should be what gets these to rest at the bottom. So we're getting everything nice and secure. There we go, got a perfect fit with the bushings. So the next thing I'm going to do is along the bottom edge here, bottom edge over there, then around here the wall of the original route. I'm going to use something to cover the body, and then take a little super glue and just make sure that any gaps get filled in. Here is after. You can see that the bridge does not rub anywhere anymore. Gets pretty close because this Floyd Rose is not the original bridge. It gets close over here, but it does not rub on the side. But the important part is up here on the front. Everything is holding place. It is not tipping forward. And everything, as you can see, moves freely, no rubbing. That's how it should be. Another successful repair. Now, you may come across this video searching for how to repair if you have the similar situation with the post coming loose. This one is probably about as complex as they get. Multiple things at the same time would have caused this. This is a bridge conversion. The Floyd rose was not the original bridge. The original bridge sat lower, so I had to have the shim to bring the posts up to have support around the bushing. The body cracking, I'll see people asking advice online, and I'll tell them to look for a crack. If this isn't your type of work, the first time experiencing that, it might be the kind of thing where you take some super glue and you go in that back route and just, line a little bit of glue, just see if it'll soak in, just kind of do a little exploration, because you don't want to go through the process of doweling the hole and everything, and the body still has a crack in it and wanting to expand and contract as you're using the whammy bar on it. Another key thing is always make sure that the depth of the hole is correct. You want that bushing to sit at the bottom of the hole. This kind of point where it makes this a bit of a pro project. I know a lot of people like to do it yourself on their guitar repairs, but if you don't have a drill press and you aren't experienced at marking and getting that precise hole depth, then it might be a situation where you want to take it to a professional. So got it all finished off. This guitar is actually in another video of mine, and if I can figure out how to add the link on the video, I'll do that. But the other video is of me doing a complete fingerboard replacement on this guitar. This has all been replaced with ebony, so maybe you'll be interested in that as well. So if the link doesn't appear, then just check my video library and it'll be in there. So if you have any repairs that you'd like to bring my way, my contact information is at the video, and we'll see you the next time around.